The first time that I used Mudra with a disabled person, and what was amazing about it, his nervous system is intact, he's perfect, but he got a bullet in his brain, and the part in the brain that controls his right hand movement was not functioning. And I put the Mudra on his hand. At the beginning, nothing, no signal. Tried all that he could, and then you had a very strong signal, and then nothing. And just by looking at the signal, getting this biofeedback,
he learned how to control it.
And after like half an hour, he was capable of creating gentle signals.
What's super cool about it, that it's really life-changing for them. Like, it really has a lot of value for them to be able to control something. It's not just from the practical point of view, but also from the emotional point of view. Like, it's life-changing basically when you are disabled, and then you can actually do something that you were not able to do before.
Hey, Ohad.
Hey guys.
What's up? Everything is cool.
Yeah, good. How are you?
Great. Good to have like this online discussion.
It's always good. Yeah.
Usually we mostly fight over over
Casually.
over important things.
Okay.
So I got to know you through our CMO Shmuel, who is a very good friend of you. Back then, you had an idea of trying to use Mudra with helping people with disabilities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You took me to this hospital for rehabilitation.
Right. So first when I got introduced to Mudra, so the obvious thing was that this could be very helpful for people with disabilities. So that's like straightforward, and that's what came to this discussion we had with this hospital, because they were interested in ways to first of all help their patient to overcome, like, let's say people with seizures and who couldn't operate their hands anymore. That was like a first step into this world of assistive technology, or that people with disabilities can actually enhance their life with it. So I think we went there together, and there was someone who was barely able to move his hands, and we tried to put Mudra, like the first version of Mudra, and we just tried to see if there are signals, so we can read the signals, if it's possible for him to actually control the signals by giving commands. And there was certainly benefits in that. So I guess you also recall.
It's just that, and after that you started volunteering in the area, and you did a lot of
So after that, I got to volunteer like in an association who's like helping disabilities, and we tried to use Mudra again with several other injured people, and to operate their hands and so on. So it works, but it requires a lot of customization to that person, because everyone has a different disability and has different ability to control the signals, the nerve signals. So we really had to customize it specifically for that person. And I think that's the difference when you're doing a product which is going to be for everyone, basically.
That you can scale.
Yes, you can scale. That doesn't require any customization, whether to someone who has a disability. And you really have to narrow it down to his, use case. So, that was...
Every person is a use case in this case.
Exactly,
I remember Ohad was injured in the army.
Right, yeah.
Actually, that was an amazing experience for me, because it's the first time that I used Mudra with a disabled person. And as you said, everyone is different, and that's not the goal in the end for Mudra.
Right.
And what was amazing about it, like his nervous system is intact, is perfect, but he got a bullet in his brain. And the part in the brain that controls his right hand movement was not functioning. And I put the Mudra on his hand, and at the beginning, nothing, no signal. And then he tried all that he could, and then you had a very strong signal, and then nothing. And after and just by looking at the signal, getting this biofeedback,
he learned how to control it.
And after half an hour, he was capable of creating gentle signals.
Yes, and what's super cool about it that because it's like change, it's really life changing for them. Like it really has a lot of value for them to be able to control something. It's not just from the practical point of view, but also from the emotional point of view. Like it's life changing basically when you are disabled, and then you can actually do something that you were not able to do before. So that's really cool. Yeah.
I know it's not that of a product thing, but actually what works there for a disabled person is exactly what is required for a BCI. Because one of the problems in when you are doing rehabilitation,
Yeah.
when someone cannot move his fingers, he has no feedback that he can do something. And when you show him signals,
He has
suddenly
feedback suddenly. Yeah.
suddenly he has something to work with, and then
Exactly.
he can know that he is advancing.
Exactly.
Now in BCI, in a way, it's the same because you are kind of disabled because you don't see
Yes.
the function, and then
Yeah.
you learn to control to create the function.
Exactly. Yeah.
But here it's something that you can scale.
Exactly. It's like unleashing the power within you. It's like
Mhm.
you're learning how to like do stuff differently. Like you learn like from childhood that you need to move your fingers to do something, right?
Mhm.
But here suddenly you don't need to do that specific action to do something. So that's life changing. Like
So actually, it takes me to something I want to ask you later
mhm.
about how you teach people to use a new product, but
Yeah,
maybe because that's exactly one of the key
yeah, definitely,
things over there. But maybe before, like we talked about it because that was your first, you know, interaction with wearable devices, with
definitely.
Mudra.
Yeah.
This is was what that was what actually made you want to join. Like, what was your like
Well, yeah.
click?
Well, my interest was because this is such a different product and different technology, such a deep, profound technology that it makes everyone who is like into it or works with it to just imagine what could be the possibilities, and that I think what was the touch point for me. Like I just started to think what this could evolve too, and I wanted to be part of it. So like doing just another ordinary product like I don't know, a SaaS product or something like that, it's cool, it's interesting, it's challenging, but this is a different scale of challenging because there's you're actually writing the book. It's not written anywhere. You are really imagine writing the future as you go. So for me that was like the what I was looking for. Yeah.
Because for me, like from an inventor or an entrepreneur point of view, it's in a way it's a weird that someone finds your like
Creation,
crazy
yeah.
idea, yeah, like
Exactly.
your weird things interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I never met anyone who tried Mudra and didn't start to think what could this. Wow, this is mind blowing. Like this could
Mhm.
actually do this and this. Everyone has his own like vision of how this could be. Become what it could
Mhm.
become, and that's what's so unique about this product and this technology. So it's really has endless potential. Yeah.
And here it takes us to in a kind into an attention point
Mm.
because I didn't say it, but you are a product manager. You are the
Right.
product manager
Mhm.
in the team, and there's always the vision, technology
Yeah.
point of view. I want to make the best I can
All right.
to build like the spaceship, the best spaceship
All
possible,
right.
and like and the product sees the things differently. So.
Exactly. I mean, as a product, I am also like in my background, I'm an engineer, as everyone here.
Mhm.
Not everyone, but a lot of us. And as an engineer, you have this desire to build, to do stuff, to have a new feature, and everything. From a product point of view, you always try to think about like, okay, it's less features, but every feature should be like exactly what needed and works. And I think that's like the tension between R&D and product. Like you want to do a lot as an R&D, you want to push a lot of features, a lot of possibilities, a lot of things, but as a product you always have to think, okay, it has to be precise, we have to make it right, we have to make it like in the level that is accepted for a consumer product. And yeah, so that's like what we always fight about, like I think.
Yeah, and one of the things, because the other is, and that's interesting, because here you take it usually the other way around. Since the day we started the company, like our first customer was the investor.
Yeah, true.
And the investors meet a new product, a new technology that they never seen before, and they ask, what is the use case?
Right.
What is the killer app?
Right.
And then you start going from this huge vision into like you go narrow down to something that makes sense to an investor. And then from a BCI, it becomes a mouse.
Yeah.
But then, and in a way, you say, from my point of view, that's what a product guy will do. He will take the vision and he will find what's the practical thing to do. But you think of it totally differently, in a way, the other way around.
I'm not sure. I think I do think about like this, but I think you have to also. We don't have a category. We are not like a mouse. Okay, we are not a keyboard. Okay, literally. Okay, we are a different thing. We are a different, like unique, and it's like when I told people, if you were in the 50s or whatever, and someone will tell you, I'm controlling my computer with a mouse. Okay, you will think like, what? Literally a mouse? He didn't understand the concept of a mouse. Like we take it literally. Like we know what a mouse is. Everyone knows what a mouse is, but it's not how it was like, and we are like inventing the new mouse basically. So it's a new category, and we are like defining it as we go. We don't want to, in one hand, to make it a mouse because it's a different than a mouse, but we do want to keep it simple enough to people to start using it, and the way they know how to use it's a mouse. So we do want to keep it like in the concept that they understand, but give it the extra benefit or extra uniqueness that BCI has, basically. So
because that's what you're always telling me, you have to show like the new stuff, the things that make people feel the vision. And then there's this question, if in the end, not in the end, but currently, in this point of view, the simplest thing, that the out-of-box experience is not the big BCI. It's like the more
practical
one.
Yes. But it has to have a flair in it. It has to have some sort of like a uniqueness to it. It's like we are not going to be like if someone is using a mouse for his day-to-day job, it's not like we are replacing it right away, but we are just giving him like an experience now that he will see the future, experience the future in a practical way. So he doesn't have to like learn, as you say, like a new BCI language. Like how do I control stuff do stuff more neural way, but in a practical way. I don't know if it's like sounds correct, but yeah.
It reminds me that I read once someone explaining what is the difference between a company that is innovative and a company that is not innovative. So it says that an innovative company tries to show its product as if it's more of the same of something that already exists because it's so far away.
Right.
And the company that is not innovative is always trying to show how their different is not the same as everything else.
Exactly. So exactly, that's the, like, even if you think about it, it just came to my mind. Like if you recall iPhone when it first came, like when phone launched, they kept the icons and the sounds like like a sound of writing or typing. It's
Typing,
it's like a
a
sound of
typewriter.
typing because people expect something, and so keep it like, even if it's unique or different than what they're used to, they try to keep it contact to the previous experience. So I think like what we are trying to do is the same. We are trying to give you the experience of a new thing, but keep you intact with what you know. So it's not like a hard learning curve for you to start experiencing the new thing. So yeah.
That's actually, I think, a very important point, and we started to talk about it earlier. How do you take something so new? Of course, you didn't have the answer because it's something that you learn,
Yeah.
but how you take something that is so new and don't teach people to use it because you
Right.
need to teach them without teaching them.
Yeah, so this was the biggest challenge because we try to see what will be intuitive to people. Like we didn't know like what are the correct gestures. If you recall, we started out, there was a lot of different ideas about different gestures that we can develop. But then the question was, what will be the most intuitive for a person to do, like and it was not like back in the days it was not so clear as it is now it's more clear because we have other companies doing something similar, but in the past it was not so clear. So we really had to test it on people. We had to do user testing with people, many people, to ask them to do stuff without guidance, and we tried to see what they were doing intuitively when you asked them to do a function, and then most of the things were kind of the same, so we knew more or less where we're heading with that. So, and I think what's unique about Muja compared to other, let's say, gesture control products out there is that we have pinch, the pressure level, and that's like really what's unique about our product, in the sense that you can do more intuitive gestures than other products maybe, or other technologies allow you to do. Yeah, that was the kind of the way we went. So we did a lot of user testing. We tested, we asked, we confirmed, we validated. So yeah.
Also with the onboarding of the application and
Oh yeah, so it's the same. Once we set up the gestures and the experience, we now had to teach them how to do it. And again, it's based on the intuitive gestures. They basically, we know that it works, but still you have to teach them how to do correctly, because it's like when you first try to use a mouse, for example. It's not right away as natural as you think. You have to get used to it. So again, with every product you have to get used to it. So the challenge for us is how to do it so that a person at home can actually learn how to use the product without any guidance from anyone near him, because it's different than you explain to someone like, yeah, do this, do that. Yeah, he has to have the best experience right out of the box while doing it himself. And we tested a lot of onboarding experiences, how to get it right. So it was a long and tedious way. Yeah.
And is there like a moment that you got like aha moment,
Yeah, there was many. Yeah, many. I cannot really recall one single one, but for example, actually, when I think about it, yes, when we were thinking about how to do the experience for, let's say, Apple TV, okay. So there was a lot of ideas how to do the interaction correctly, but then the idea of doing some sort of like a trackpad, like a virtual trackpad that you are just doing like this, okay, that was something that I remember very clearly. That was like kind of aha moment, as I said. So you have boxes and you need to navigate the boxes, sorry, and you have to move it like this, like you would do with a trackpad. You would do the trackpad is like like this, so you do it like this. So that was like aha moment, instead of just doing like discrete motion. So that one of those.
Well, actually, I'm not sure. Maybe it's that or something else. But Nomi earlier told me that there was an issue that you had, and then you went to a wedding
A wedding, yeah.
and came back and you told me, I solved it. I solved it.
Yeah, well, we were just struggling to again to explain to people in the onboarding how to do the gestures correctly and how to explain them to the flow correctly. I just recall that in the wedding, I went and because it was in Finland. I have friends in Finland, so I went to a wedding there, and I had to. Everybody asked me, "What do you do?" And I just started to explain to them, you know, I'm doing this cool new product, and they asked me show me, and then I had to explain to them how to use it, and I noticed that there is a pattern of how to explain it correctly, and how to, so there's gonna be consistent results. That's what we got from it. So from the wedding we got the flow. So
It reminds me that on the first year when I built the company, we went to the beach to a friend's party, and then she asks me, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah, the classic.
And I was starting to explain and said, if you can't say it in one sentence,
Exactly.
you don't know yourself what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like if you cannot explain it in one sentence, people lose you. You start to say BCI stuff like that. So I kind of try to keep it simple. What do you say, by the way, when they ask you?
That we have a band that turns your hand into a remote control.
Yeah, exactly. I used the same.
But the thing is, it's this narrow down, because for me, my dream is to have a BCI, a real BCI, and a bidirectional one. I want to be able to send my thoughts. I want to be able to connect to the internet directly and send and get data. And that's far. And that's a big vision. And it's like, in a way, it's impossible. So you have to cut it into small chunks, and every time get a bite and continue.
Right. Yeah, I think you have to. We had that roadmap, if you remember. We made that roadmap in the white paper we wrote, and we kind of put those steps. How do we see the vision come to be? Like in I don't know, in a decade from here. So we start from small steps. We say, okay, first we do gestures like finger gestures, and then it's going to be micro gestures, and then no gestures at all, just thinking. So it has steps there, and we are in the way, on our way, like that.
For me, there's like a confusing thing, because as an inventor of a technology, when you start a technology, and in the beginning it's only you, and you have your ideas, and you can play with them however you want. But it cannot go you cannot make it because you are alone.
Yeah.
And then when you have you build a company, and you have employees and and everyone has his own idea.
Right.
And then comes a person that calls himself product.
Yes.
And then and actually a product is an inventor on its own, because
in a way, yeah.
Because taking an idea, or taking even that it works, even it has a basic functionality, taking it to something that people can use, it has so many challenges, and you have to go through. It requires so much creativity to think how it's like. In a way, it's a psychology point of view, where you have to understand how the user sees it.
Exactly, and I think this is one of the things what I really enjoy working with this product. It's like every morning you it's a challenge that you do one step, another step, and you refine it and refine it and refine it, and it's begin to become so much. I remember, like, I don't know, 4 years ago when we started to work on the Mudra band. So it was so many things were unclear, like so many unknowns. There were still so many unknowns, and it's like amazing when I think about it now. That everything is known, not everything, but a lot of things are already known, and it's like amazing, like how far we went. So, and it's like, as you said, like it's always a challenge, and you have to be creative in finding solution for that challenge. So that's what I find really, really fascinating and really, really satisfying. Like every day to make that extra step to figure out how to do something, and to make it more comfortable, more intuitive, more
But in order to do that, you touch so many things. You work with the design of with development of the firmware with Sasha, and with all the app developing? Like, how is your day? How does your day look like?
It's hectic because we are jumping from things, but luckily there's a great team here that everybody is working, knows their role, and they are independent in many ways. So we have some kind of vision, and we are trying to achieve it, and everybody's pulling together and working towards that vision. Okay, so and. And that's also so important when when you're working on such a product, because I don't have all the answers. Okay, so sometimes answers come from unexpected person.
Places.
Okay, someone might say that, oh, I figure out how to do that, and then we say, oh, this is it. This is how to solve that problem. So it's really a team effort. It's not just one person. You have to have a team that works together, and making everyday steps by steps to make the product better.
So we've been working on the Mudra band for 3 years,
Yeah,
and now you're working on a new product.
yeah, the modular link. Yeah, right.
So, like, what's the difference? Why Mudra Link? What is it about?
Okay, so well, one of the things we notice is that we have, first of all, Mojo Band is, we started it as an accessory for Apple Watch. That was a very cool way to start, because we have a very clear understanding what's the target and who is it for and what it's going to do and so on. But we noticed that there's so many other people who would like to start exploring this technology, and they don't happen to own an Apple Watch, okay? And they don't happen to even be in the Apple ecosystem. So the idea is to basically open it to everyone. So the mood running is a standalone band. It's not requiring any Apple Watch or any watch at all, not even an app. Basically, it's a standalone band that you can connect to any device that you would like to work with, and it will straight away work as if it's a mouse, okay, or a mouse, or a remote control, let's say. And you can customize it. You can customize it as you like. So you can use an app that we deliver, and you can customize the functions. So you would like to, I don't know, say that you want this gesture to raise the volume of your computer, or you want to do this to change a song or stuff like that. So everyone has their own use case. Everyone, they have their own experience that they want to build. So that's the whole idea with modeling. It's like a step for a person to explore the future with of neural technology as he would like to do it. So we didn't want to enforce an experience on a person like we did with the Mojo Band. I mean, we build an experience for cool devices, but here we wanted to give the freedom for a person to actually design their own experiences. So yeah, that's the difference, I think.
So we focused for so many years on augmented, and specifically on augmented extended reality, which is currently in a way and the best, like the killer app, but it's still
Yeah.
it's not a big market.
No, it's not. Yeah.
What do you think about AR in general?
I think that's the next thing. Definitely, everybody believes in it. I think sometimes it takes a long time for we know it ourselves how hard it is to push a new technology to a market. Okay, and I think AR is definitely going to change our lives, but it's going to take some time for people to adopt. So once it's adopted, I think everyone will never look back. But there's a lot of steps in the way that needs to be figured out. Like we try to figure out things that, like a lot of companies who are doing AI are still figuring out, and part of it is the interaction, and we are solving the interaction part. But yes, we see it as down the road. That's what's going to be the next change, the next revolution, and we see ourselves as the main like interaction method for AR. So we are always keeping an eye on that. We are always thinking on that market and how to bring the best experience for that. But on the other hand, we are looking not just on that, because we know it's still down the road. It's not here yet. So we are trying to also keep the reality check, like what we can do now. So yeah, that's the challenge. we never actually talked about it, but like, how do you see like the difference? Because you started like three guys, like, well, basically it was you in the garage, like, right,
Yeah, in the
doing,
porch.
and then now you have like a lot of people in the company, and from a person who actually thought about this, technology, that's what you imagine, or what did you imagine like when you were?
Well,
Mm,
in a way, it's very different because it has similarities, but it's
okay.
very different because it went through this filter of reality into something that can be done. Because a real BCI is still far and requires people to learn. What I thought of in the beginning is to have a bidirectional connection. What it means is that I will use EMG, as we do, to get an output from a person, and to use what's called sensory substitution, and to get data back in, which means that you use current sensory modalities to convey another type of data, and then to use what is called passive haptic learning to teach a person to use that. Passive haptic learning is a method of directly teaching your muscle memory to do a task. So there's a great video by Todd Starner who actually discovered the passive haptic learning of a person learning to play a piano that never played the piano before, and he's putting this haptic glove, and he listens to music, and while he listens to the music, each
He gets
finger
like
finger is vibrating
Right,
according
okay.
to what he had to press. And then after 30 minutes like that, where he was doing his work, he had the mouse.
He was not paying attention.
Not
you mean?
paying
No,
attention at
really?
all.
Okay.
Just listening to music. And then in the end, they put him in front of a piano, and he was in shock by himself to learn that he could play it, because
Wow.
it downloaded like into the muscle memory. So and I thought, wow, that's exactly what I want to have here, because if I can teach you without moving, just detect like the alphabet of your nervous system, detect. And I don't want you to really move. I just want you to think of a movement,
Right.
so I can differentiate it from actual movement, because you want to do things in the world. You want to grab things. You want to interact with the world.
Yes.
So you use like something that is a little bit different. You can use it with other things that you do. And then you can, whenever you do you create such an alphabet, you get a feedback according to that explicit, not gesture, but a command that you did. And then if you are in communication with someone and he does exactly that kind of a command, you will feel it if it's intended for you. So you will understand what he was doing.
Communication through.
In a way, that's one of the things. So it's bi-directional. But it's possible, and actually now 5 years, 6 years ago, which is about 4 years after our first patent about it was written, someone did it not with EMG, but with actual glove. Actually, it's a student of Todd Starner, and he did exactly what he said in the patent. He used it for typing Braille and reading Braille, and
Really?
yes, but without EMG, with a glove.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
And they say it's like people learn it like magic. But
So how do you like? What is the craziest idea you think now for like down the road for Mudra? Like, for example,
for
EMG.
I think
BCI.
I think that's like to get to this point with EMG, where you just when you learn to think. Like you learn to use your hand a little bit differently. You add more options to the hand. Currently, the hand does something, but it can do much more than that.
Okay.
And we teach the user without him paying attention. We teach him how to use this interface, and he gets much more options in his life, because now he can do whatever he's doing, but then he just thinks that actively into the hand that he wants to do something, and it's just done. and then he gets a feedback and he just understands it. Maybe I want to talk with someone in a different language,
Okay.
and I have a translation that is automatic. I immediately know what he was saying because it's translated in this manner.
Okay.
But again, this is like science fiction currently.
Okay. Well, that's if we didn't dream, if we won't dream, it won't happen. No, it's like we have to dream. Okay. Cool.
Great, thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.